Okay, let's talk about the niche targeting strategy. This is the actual targeting strategy that I use for all of my Facebook ads. And this is going to go into your strategy here because you're going to need to do your targeting for any niche that you want to start investigating inside of Facebook ads. And this is a very, very powerful strategy. This is what I teach inside of my targeting intensive. This is the same targeting that I use for my bootcamp as well. I mean, this is in my opinion, the best way that you can organize your niche, not only for testing, but also for capturing the upside, scaling, making a lot of money when you find winners. This is the best of both worlds. So we're going to talk about the niche interest grouping strategy. I'm going to define it first. This is all about the idea of interest groups. Okay, this is something that I have kind of named. I'm sure other people are using it as well. It's the idea of organizing your niche into meaningful groups. Okay, so what is an interest group? It's basically just a group of interests within a niche that are all super similar. And this is going to make a lot more sense for you in a little bit. But it's really the idea that we're going to be breaking down our niche into meaningful chunks. Okay, we're going to break it down into meaningful chunks. We're going to use the cat niche as an example throughout this video. And just a very, very basic example, different chunks inside or different interest groups inside the cat niche could be cat magazines, cat websites, cat fan pages, right? And of course, any of those interest groups would have individual interests inside them. For example, Modern Cat Magazine, Your Cat Magazine, Today Cat Magazine, etc. Right? So that's the definition, okay? And there's a four-step process as you see in your screen. It's number one, identifying interest groups. Number two, building interest groups. Number three, testing the interest groups. And then finally, number four, categorizing the interest groups, okay? These are going to be the four things that we'll walk through right now. And number one is identifying interest groups. Okay, you need to find as many subcategories of your niche as possible, okay? And we're not talking about individual interests. Okay, we're talking about groups of different interests that we would then build, groups of different interests, groups or categories, where then we would add in interests afterwards. Here's a little list of 14 potential interest groups in pretty much any niche, okay? And we'll take cats for example again, right? Step one is identifying as many interest groups. These are 14 potential interest groups. And you think of it this way in a little hierarchy. Tier one, or the top level, you have your niche. Let's say cats, okay? Tier two, you would have lots of different interest groups for that niche. For example, cat brands like cat food brands, types of cats, cat TV shows and movies, cat websites, cat stores, cat magazines, etc. That's your second level. Your third level would be the actual individual interests inside any of these interest groups. So all of the cat magazines, all of the cat stores, all of the cat websites, all of the cat TV shows and movies, etc. All right, that's your three-level targeting strategy. Level one, your niche. Level two, your interest groups. Level three, your actual interests. So we're trying to identify as many of these interest groups as we can. Number one, identify the interest groups. Our goal is to reach a wide variety of people in the niche, a wide variety of potential buyers. And that is illustrated right here. These are all different groups of potential buyers. People that like cat TV shows and movies, they might want to buy our cat products. People that like cat websites might want to buy our cat products. These are ways to break down our niche and gives us the ability to test out through a wide variety of people without spending a lot of money, right? That's the idea of the interest group strategy. It would be incredibly expensive to test every interest individually, okay? We want to definitely avoid overlapping subjects. We're going to combine groups if needed, and you really don't want to skimp on this research. These are going to carry on for the life of your store, okay? So don't skimp on this research. If it takes you a whole day to do it, that's fine. You want to find as many interest groups as possible, okay? So once we have interest groups identified, we then need to go and take those interest groups and build them out. We need to go and find the individual interests that are going to load up in those groups. And again, very easy example. How about something like, we'll just do magazines again. How about you're in the dog niche? You would go look for every single dog magazine and you would add it to that interest group. Okay, and in terms of sizing, we're going to be shooting for between 75,000 and 500,000 in size for testing. Okay, the idea here is that if you can't sell to a narrow audience, right, this is certainly a narrow audience, 75,000 to 500,000. If you can't sell to that audience, good luck. You have no shot of selling to a broader audience. It's not going to happen, right? I mean, if you can't sell to people that really, really love cat magazines, what's going to make you think that you're going to be able to sell to just someone who just generally likes cats, you know, from the widest stance, right? Obviously, the more narrow, the better the potential customer, right? These are going to give you your best chance of succeeding. That's why we're testing with them. Okay? And of course, you could scale out. to larger numbers once something is working. But for testing, for proving the niche, for proving our initial ads, we definitely want to be in this size for our interest groups. And how are we going to get down to size if we add every single interest? Let's say there's 10 cat magazines, probably going to be over 500,000 in size, totally okay. We're going to leverage flex targeting to get down to size. We're going to do flex targeting, otherwise known as intersecting or narrowing the audience. I'm going to show you how to do that when we go over the shoulder. Okay, never use an individual interest more than once. I see a lot of people get caught up on this. There's no right and wrong answer for building these interest groups, right? There's no right or wrong answer about where you put something. I'll give you an example. In the sports niche, Sports Illustrated is a magazine, but it also has a website, and it also has a fan page, and it's also a brand, right? Where do you put it? The correct answer is it doesn't matter. You can place it anywhere that you think is going to be the most relevant. The only way you screw it up is if you use it more than once. Okay, so if you use Sports Illustrated and you put it in the magazine's interest group, that means you cannot put it in any other interest group. Okay, make sure that you remember that. Once you use an interest, you're never going to use it again in any other interest group. Okay, and this is an obvious one. The entire interest group must be super similar. Okay, we're not going to contaminate interest groups. We're not going to have a cat food brand and a cat magazine mixed together. All interests inside the cat magazine interest group must be directly related to cat magazines, not similar to cat magazines, not things that people who read cat magazines might also like, just cat magazines. Right? You want to do something about cat food brands? Go ahead, put it in the brand section. You want to do something about a fan page that says I love cats? Fine, but do it in the fan page section, not in the magazine section, right? Once you use an interest, you're only going to use it once in only one specific interest group. So, testing interest groups. Right, this is actually going to go in line with the previous strategy video about organizing your tests. Okay, so once interest groups are built, you can actually go ahead and start testing your products. And the prerequisite here is that we want to have at least 3 to 4 different products, not necessarily in our store or in our funnels, but ready to be tested. Again, we don't need to test them all at once, but we definitely want to test a multiple variety of products in a niche before we make any decision on that niche. Okay, and our testing goal is to simply figure out as much as we can about the niche. We'd obviously love to build our data, our pixels, our custom audiences, our email lists, etc. But the biggest goal here is we need to answer the question, where are the buyers and do they exist in this niche? And you can see why the interest group strategy works so well answering this question. If we make sales using the magazine interest group, then we know buyers are inside the magazine interest group. If we make sales using the TV and movie interest group, then we know that's where the buyers are, right? This is why it doesn't work to just go in there and put every single interest in the cat niche in general in a big interest group or just the very broad word cats. It doesn't work because you don't know what's working after the fact, right? Maybe you get lucky and the ads will work that time, but what about next time? And how do you scale from there, right? This interest group strategy gives you the ability to not only understand what's working, but have the ability to then scale out to all your other ad sets, right? For example, let's say we're running with a magazine interest group and it works. Well, Scaling 101 says show something that works to more similar people. And guess what? We have all these other similar people already organized into different interest groups ready to go. Okay? So again, the goal is to understand where do the buyers exist. And there's a massive danger here. That danger is testing blindly without strategy or goals in mind. Right? If you test without a strategy or without a goal in mind, then you're basically just throwing money at the wall. And you know, we'd all love to launch our first product and make $100,000, but likely it's not going to happen. We need to have a strategy, and the strategy and the goal is to figure out where are the buyers, right? Our main goal, again, where are the buyers inside the niche? What interest groups contain buyers, right? That's invaluable information. That is priceless information. I mean, we would build a massive business off of that information. So let's use the cat niche as an example again. We're going to have 4 different interest groups, and we're going to test the effectiveness of those 4 interest groups over here. Test the effectiveness of those 4 interest groups across those 4 products. Okay. Test each interest group alone in its own ad set. That's just proper split testing. When you're building your Facebook ads, it's going to be set up in this scenario. Campaign, ad set, ad. Okay, one campaign, let's say it's website conversion. In that campaign, you'll have one ad set, right? Each interest group would get tested in its own ad set. So in one campaign, you're simply testing one ad set, and you're matching that ad set up with one product. Okay, you're going to want to run multiple tests, right? You want to do different combinations of product and interest group and ad objectives and all these different tests that you need to run, but you're going to see in the next slide how simple it is to get started, okay? You're going to want to simply look for interest groups that generate sales. That's the key. Okay, so let me show you this little testing example. Again, cat niche, 4 interest groups, 4 products. The first week that you would do, or the first set of tests, again, it doesn't have to be inside of a week, since we're working with so many different products and niches in ClickFunnels. The first set of tests would be 1 through 4. Okay, you've identified 4 interest groups and you've identified 4 products, and look what you're doing. You're matching up product 1 with interest group 1, running a website conversion ad. Product 2, interest group 2, website conversion. Product 3, interest group 3, website conversion. Product 4, interest group 4, website conversion. Right? These are basically your matches. You're matching a product up with a single interest group and you're testing it one time. Okay, and you see the big triangle here. The takeaway here is that we want to provide ourselves with as much data and as much good data as possible, which means we need to do different tests that are going to provide us with more data, right? You see all the different tests right here. And in fact, after you run through your 4 tests, right, let's say you have results that are positive, right? May not necessarily be scaling, but you're looking at your ad results and you're reading the good data, and you're going to watch a video in this course about how to read the data. Then you would move on to phase 2 of your testing, where you would literally go and change up the matching. Over here we have product 1, but instead of advertising it with interest group 1, we're advertising it with interest group number 4 this time, okay? 5, 6, 7, 8, these are optional, right? They're optional in the fact that you don't have to do them from the start. You'd only do them if the ad data calls for more tests. And again, you'll understand how to read that data later on. But 1 through 4 is going to be, you'll do this every time, every niche, every test. You're going to find 4 products, 4 interest groups. And again, this goes with that best strategy for ClickFunnels video that you watched previously. So here's some guidelines on testing. We're doing website conversion photo and website conversion video. Those are the only two tests that I would advise going with. Other objectives can work as well, clicks to website, PPE, video views, but in terms of testing, I think you want to be at website conversion. If you're at a brand new pixel, brand new store, I would be using the add to cart event inside the website conversion. You'll see that as we do the website conversion ad video in this course. So we're going to be running 5 days, $5 a day. That's $25 per ad set, per test, right? Don't cut them early. Let them all run for 5 days so you can compare everything apples to apples. If everything spends $25, then you could be looking at the ad stats evenly and just say, okay, this one definitely outperformed this one didn't do well, etc., etc. You can compare them since they're all at $25 spent. Okay, that's going to be your $5, 5 days. At the end of the 5th day, you're going to make your simple cut and scale decisions. If you're profitable, you're going to scale it. If you're break even, you're going to continue, and if you're negative, you're going to cut the ad. Okay, super simple. Okay, big danger here. Don't get attached to your products because of engagement. Don't get attached to your ads or your campaigns or your ad sets or your posts just because of engagement. Okay, engagement is likes, shares, comments. Right? Those are nice, but pretty easy to get engagement. Right? Only sales matter. That's the only thing that matters. Okay. And the next question you'll probably have is, how many should I test? Well, as many interest groups as you find in a niche, that gives you the ability to test that many products. Now, I don't think you need to test 8 to 12 products in the ClickFunnels side of things. When I'm doing a Shopify niche store, I definitely want to test 8 to 12 products. But again, we want to use ClickFunnels to basically move off to our Shopify store ASAP. So I think that that flexibility, that kind of ideology of being able to move quickly from niche to niche, product to product, this 4 test setup that you see over here, 1 through 4, I think that would be more than enough for you to do in terms of testing with ClickFunnels. So the last thing that you need to do is actually categorize the interest groups. Right, what are we looking for during testing? Well, this should really say sales, comma sales, comma sales, comma sales. That's all that matters. Right, we need to be identifying what is a winning interest group, and that simply means an interest group that has generated a sale inside the testing period. Okay, notice I didn't say sales or $10,000 in sales or $1 billion in revenue. No, you just need to find interest groups that generate sales. Why is that? Well, remember what our goal was a couple slides back. Learn where the buyers are inside your niche. Right, that is the #1 goal. So a winning interest group is simply an interest group that has generated a sale. Okay, so what do you do next? Well, you need to categorize your interest groups into winners and losers, and every single week you're going to launch new product to your winners. And more specifically, in the ClickFunnels side of things, if you've gotten to the point where you've had a scalable winner, you're going to move on to Shopify and start launching weekly to your winning interest groups. And at the beginning, you're not going to have that many winners. It's okay. But as long as you found that scalable product, basically as long as you've proven that you want to stick in the niche, you can retest with some of your losers, your quote unquote losing interest groups for the first couple of weeks until you identify more winning interest groups. And of course, you'll always use your interest groups, winning or losing, for scaling. So that is the niche interest grouping strategy. I'm going to show you a couple of examples in the coming videos. Definitely take a look at those, and that will kind of solidify your kind of understanding of this model. But this is my exact targeting strategy, guys. It's very, very powerful. It really sets you up not only for great testing, but for great scaling. And really rewatch this video if you need to. This is definitely a concept that you definitely want to master. So rewatch this and take a look at some of the example videos in terms of targeting that are coming up as well.